Hello and welcome. Tonight, President Bola Tinubu seeks support of traditional rulers for the removal of fuel subsidy, as well as his party's choice of candidates for the 10th National Assembly leadership. I could have slapped him. Well, that's coming from the immediate past Governor of Kano State, Abdullahi Ganduje, while reacting to the presence of Rabiu Kwakwaso at the presidential villa. And President Bola Tinubu suspends Governor Godwin Emefiele as Governor of Central Bank of Nigeria with immediate effect, asks him to hand over to the Deputy Governor in charge of Operations Directorate for Lashadun Shonubi.
On Business News tonight, President Bola Tinubu also assents to the electricity bill, which seeks to enable states, companies and individuals generate, transmit and distribute power across the country.
And from the nation's capital, a factional speaker of the Nasarawa House of Assembly, Daniel Ogazi, accuses the Nigerian police of complicity in the leadership crisis rocking the House after he was denied access into the Assembly complex.
And in international news from London, Norwegian scientists say they have found evidence of an explosion in the area of the Kakhovka Dam at the time water began pouring through it.
Well, the leadership race of the 10th Assembly is still high up the priority list of President Bola Tinubu, who today appealed to traditional rulers to counsel those vying for principal offices to manage their ambitions in order to reach a harmonious conclusion. At an interactive session with the royal fathers today, the president also assured them that his administration will run an open-door policy. Well, speaking on the subsidy removal, the president described it as a right decision, with an assurance that the high price of petrol will eventually fall. Our State House correspondent Gloria Mezoke reports.
The convergence of royal fathers under the aegis of the National Council of Traditional Rulers of Nigeria to meet with the President Bola Tinubu comes nearly 3 months since the council unilaterally congratulated the president on his electoral victory. The Vice President, Senator Kashim Shettima, Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Senator George Akume, and other top government officials are also present at this inaugural meeting with the Council, which is co-led by the Sultan of Sokoto, Alhaji Sa'ad Abubakar III, and the Oni of Ife, His Royal Highness, Oba Adeyeye Ogunwusi, among other top traditional leaders. In an emotive address, the president urges the royal fathers to intervene in the leadership tussle of the 10th National Assembly before its inauguration, which is barely 4 days away.
We have only 2 chairs. Senate President, 1 chair. The Speaker, 1 chair. If I have 6 people struggling in the same environment, they will talk. They will talk. So it's only through your counseling, your responses to them, that we can harmonize this and take off very, very well.
The president again defends his decision on the fuel subsidy removal.
Why should we, in good sense, in good heart, feed smugglers, be a Father Christmas to the neighboring country, and think we did the right thing? It's in your hand. As the closest people to the local government, to the grassroots, to persuade our people to have the understanding. This price will be high now, but it will go down.
He assures that power generation is one challenge the government has proffered intervention.
Power generation cannot be embarked upon by state government. The bill has been signed.
The president's job at this time is not an envious one, the royal fathers acknowledge as they pledge loyalty.
Mr. President, we don't envy you, assuming the leadership of this country at this time. But we believe if you stick to your faith and believe in the will of Almighty in whatever you do to carry this country to the highest height, you will succeed.
Please do not underestimate what we traditional rulers can do. We can complement your government. We can complement the betterment of this country. We can actually complement and make the work a lot easier for you. Use us, Mr. President. Use us, Mr. President. We want to work with you and make sure that Nigeria is a better place.
Now, working hard to realize expectations of many Nigerians is at the heart of calls by the president to the royal fathers. He's categorical about a decision not to deviate from the business of governance, and as a matter of fact, he has vowed to remove anything that constitutes a roadblock on the progress of the nation. From the presidential villa, Gloria Umezuke, Channels Television News.
Well, it wasn't all hunky-dory at the State House today as the immediate past governor of Kano State, Abdullahi Ganduje, threatened to slap the presidential candidate of the new Nigeria People's Party and former governor of Kano State, Senator Rabiu Kwankwaso, if he meets him at the State House. Mr. Ganduje, who was deputy to Senator Kwankwaso when he was governor, issued the threat after meeting with President Bola Tinubu over the demolition of some buildings by the NNPP-led government in Kano. Addressing State House correspondents, former Governor Ganduje stated that less than 72 hours after the inauguration of Mr. Yusuf on May the 29th, 4 properties erected based on a public-private partnership arrangement were demolished by the new government.
If we cannot respect what a previous government has done, to consider it illegal without going through due process, how can we administer public like that? So these are the issues with the cliff. It's not a hearsay. We have the thing going on. People are abusing the government now. Those who can speak Hausa, we can put the clip for you to hear what they're saying. And unfortunately, some of their members are even affected. So, ladies and gentlemen, members of the press, that is what took me to Mr. President, and I have briefed him adequately on this. I have spoken with the IGP. I have sent the clip to IGP. IGP is aware of this. They are still, in fact, he even made a press statement they will continue demolishing Kwankwaso himself. Not even the governor. The governor is not even talking because he's a stooge. And from inside information we have, he's not even happy. I know he's in the building, but we have not met. Probably if we met, maybe I could have slapped him.
Well, it would seem both men did not meet, as Senator Rabiu Kwankwaso, who was also with President Bola Tinubu, dismissed his successor's claim, accusing him of appropriating government property for himself and family members. He, however, reveals that the issue of a ministerial post for him in the Tinubu administration came up during his discussion with the president. He conceded that he was open to working with the president to move the nation forward, but affirmed that he will not join the All Progressives Congress, as President Tinubu was only looking at a government of national unity.
Are you not shocked? President was shocked. He didn't know. He even mentioned that he talked to somebody to go and find out for him. For those of you who are in Kano, you know, Medwed Daula, demolished to zero. And that's a faculty under Kano University of Science and Technology. He demolished that one. The entire structures was billions of naira, and sacked all the students and sacked all the lecturers. Demolished, and he was building, or they were in the process of building a mall where to buy and sell. And who owned that mall is him and his children. If you go to CAC, you see who owned the companies. That is one. Because you are governor, you come and take over everything and give it to yourself or your family. It doesn't work that way. Some of them, all those who are making noise, are people who are beneficiaries. Who can understand that? Beneficiaries are making noise. But I can tell you, all of you here, all of you, if you become governor in your state with this situation before you, you will do exactly or even more than what Abba is doing now in Kano.
The Nigerian Labour Congress NLC and the Trade Union Congress TUC are asking the courts to vacate the order restraining them from embarking on a nationwide strike over the removal of petrol subsidy. The National Industrial Court of Nigeria, Abuja Division, had on Monday asked the unions to halt the planned strike pending the hearing and determination of the ex parte motion filed by the federal government. However, in a motion filed on behalf of the unions by Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Mr. Femi Falana, the union said the court lacks the jurisdictional competence to hear and determine the federal government's case, citing that it was filed in violation of Section 17, Sub 2 of the Trade Dispute Act. The unions therefore argued that the federal government did not disclose a reasonable cause of action against them. Mr. Falana adds that by virtue of Section 40 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria in 1999 as amended, Nigerian workers have the fundamental right to protest against policies of government considered inimical to their interests, as reiterated in the cases of IGP versus ANPP 2008 and Musa versus INEC. So I'll bring you that developing story. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has suspended the central bank governor, Mr. Godwin Emefiele, from office with immediate effect. According to a statement from the Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, the suspension is sequel to the ongoing investigation of his office and the planned reforms in the financial sector of the economy. Mr. Emefiele has been directed to immediately hand over the affairs of his office to the Deputy Governor Operations Directorate, who will act as a central bank governor pending the conclusion of investigation and the reforms. Well, in part two, after the break, security operatives raid the residence of former Governor of Zamfara State, Bello Matawale, carting away some vehicles in the process. Well, that's in a moment. To join us again. You're welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10, live on Channels Television. A reminder of our main stories. President Bola Tinubu seeks support of traditional rulers for the removal of petrol subsidy, as well as his party's choice of candidates for the 10th National Assembly leadership. I could have slapped him. Well, that's coming from the immediate past governor of Kano State, Abdullahi Ganduje, while reacting to the presence of Senator Rabiu Kwakunso at the presidential villa. Well, President Bola Tinubu suspends Godwin Emefiele as governor of Central Bank with immediate effect, asks him to hand over to the deputy governor in charge of operations, Directorate Falashodun Shonubi. And new charges say former U.S. President Donald Trump took U.S. nuclear secret files and stored them in showers. A legal luminary, Chief Afe Babalola, has frowned at the idea of severance packages for presidents and governors, among others, describing it as evidence of unreadiness to sacrifice for a nation in need. The senior advocate, who hosted the Nigeria Association of Chamber of Commerce, Industry, Mines and Agriculture in Asima at his university for their meeting, asked them to join him in the crusade for a better Nigeria. He believes relevant bodies should be raising salient questions on the recent removal of fuel subsidy, amongst other issues.
Your duty as an Asima is premised on the Constitution, which says the first duty of the government is to ensure safety of life and welfare of people. That should be your duty too, to ensure that we have safety of life. Do we have it now? No. Welfare of people, do we have it? No. The catalyst to overcome any problem, ignorance and otherwise. It's education. Obasanjo tried. He raised it again. He was paying almost 20% for the education when he left. Today it has gone down to about 5% to where were you, Nasima? Why don't you cry out? 5% for education. There should be no severance package for president, governor, and legislators when they leave. Recently you read that 640-something billion will be paid to those who are earning salaries as governors, who are enjoying all the facilities in the world, free care, free this, free holiday. Now you want to give them severance allowance of over 640 something. How? Why? What is Nasima doing about that?
And armed security personnel are reported to have stormed the residence of immediate past governor of Zamfara State, Bello Matawalle, in his hometown Maradun, taking several vehicles with them. A resident of the town told Channels Television that the security agents invaded the house of a former governor this afternoon and drove the vehicles to the police station in the town. But reacting to the incident, the APC Publicity Secretary in the state, Yusuf Idris, in a statement said the invasion is a gross violation of the Constitution, adding that no law in the country gives the police, the DSS, or any security outfit the right to invade on any citizen's property without notice or warrant. Meanwhile, the state government says this was an operation by the Nigeria police. According to a statement by the spokesperson of the Zamfara Governor, Suleiman Idris, revealed that the police acted on a court order and a search warrant was obtained for the operation. He adds that 40 vehicles were recovered from the compound, which includes 3 bulletproof vehicles and 8 SUVs. Efforts to reach the Zamfara State Police Public Relations Officer, ASP Yazid Abubakar, failed as his phone was switched off. Well, let's now head over to our Abuja studio, where Terry Kumi is sitting by as usual with more stories on the news at 10. Good evening, Terry.
Good evening, Coyote from Zamfara. Let's go to Nasarawa State, where one of the 2 factional speakers of the 7th Nasarawa House of Assembly, Daniel Ogazi, is accusing the Nigerian police of complicity in the leadership crisis rocking the House. Mr. Ogazi made the accusation when he and members of his camp visited the assembly complex in Lafia yesterday, but were allegedly denied access by the police. He queried why the other faction led by Ibrahim Babangida was allowed access to hold plenary in the complex yesterday, despite police restrictions. Efforts to get reactions of the State Police Command to the claims by Ogazi camp were unsuccessful.
The House of Assembly is sealed. We are here as members, the Speaker of Nasarawa State House of Assembly, and we are here on the information that some members are led into the House of Assembly by the Commissioner of Police. And the Commissioner of Police yesterday said that the House of Assembly is sealed and that no member should come in. But today he led himself, the former Speaker, and the 10 members into the House of Assembly, while he denied the 13 of us. He said that we cannot get access into the House of Assembly. And that is why we are telling the world that if we are killed in Nasarawa State today, they should hold the Commissioner of Police responsible. If there is any problem in Nasarawa State today, they should hold the Commissioner of Police responsible. He is the one that is causing problem. And we are calling on our supporters to still remain calm. We are law-abiding citizens. But if anything happens, God forbid, the Commissioner of Police should be held responsible.
Now let's go to the court, where the People's Democratic Party has called up 3 additional witnesses to prove their case in the ongoing presidential election petition tribunal in Abuja, bringing the total number of witnesses it has presented to 16. Lead counsel to the petitioner, Mr. Chris Uche, says the PDP presidential candidate has more witnesses to present to prove his case. He, however, did not state how many more witnesses the PDP would want to call in this matter. The latest round of witnesses by the PDP are mainly INEC ad hoc staff who participated in the February presidential election. The tribunal has now adjourned further hearing in the matter to Saturday, June 10, to allow the petitioner call more witnesses to prove his case. The courtroom wears a new look, with two giant television sets mounted on both sides of the hall. They were brought in by counsel to Mr. Peter Obi to prove his case against INEC, President Tinubu, and the All Progressives Congress. When the proceedings commenced, the petitioner's counsel applied for the court to adopt the statement on oath of the witness he subpoenaed. However, his application was met with stiff objections from the defense counsels, who argued that the witness is incompetent to testify in the matter. However, the court advised the petitioner to continue with the presentation of the witness statement on oath, while it reserved ruling on its admissibility till Judgment Day. The petitioner also tendered electronic evidence in the form of flash drives, which he prayed that the court should play. This prayer is again objected to, as the respondent argued that they were not served with this evidence prior to the commencement of proceedings. The court overruled the objections, but for want of time, adjourned to Saturday, June 10, when it says the electronic evidence will be played in the open court. Meanwhile, the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party called 3 additional witnesses in his case against the Independent National Electoral Commission, President Bola Tinubu, and the APC.
As you can see, we have called 16 witnesses, and we are still calling many more. Interestingly, this batch we are calling now are presiding officers who worked for INEC, and they are here on subpoena giving evidence, and we are listening to their evidence. So we are coming back tomorrow with more witnesses as we progress.
So far, the PDP presidential candidate has called up 16 witnesses to prove his case, as the court adjourns further hearing on the matter to Saturday, June 10, 2023. Former military president, retired General Ibrahim Babangida, is among the latest beneficiaries of the award of provisional licenses to establish a private university in the country. El Amin University is owned by El Amin Nigeria Limited, a company that has General Babangida as its chairman of trustees. The executive secretary of the National University Commission, Professor Abubakar Rashid, also issued licenses for 36 private universities.
Gathered here at the main auditorium of the National University Commission are former governors, ministers, and members of the academia. It is the official presentation of licenses to 37 new private universities to operate in Nigeria.
Today's licensing of 37 private universities brings the number of private universities to 147.
This brings the number of private universities to 147, and the belief here is that the latest additions will boost the standard of education in the country.
Education is changing today globally. Our universities should focus more on producing potential employers rather than potential employees.
We should be united in seeking ways of improving quality service delivery of university education in Nigeria. We should also work at devising strategies for quality improvement and elimination of social vices, as well as maintaining industrial peace and harmony for sustainable development.
Some of those given licenses include Asman University, Kano, El Amin University, Mina, Niger State, and Lux Mundi University in Umuahia, Abia State, among others.
The deterioration in the standards of education needs to be stopped so that we can build people, a population that is not just educated, a population that is employable.
Like has been said today, skill acquisition is key. Universities is just not going to be just for theory. We want to ensure that those that are part of this university, the students that are going to go through this system, will be employers of labor.
The presentation of these licenses now brings the total number of public and private universities in the country to 264.
Still ahead on the news at 10. President Bola Tinubu assents to the electricity bill, which empowers states, companies and individuals to generate, transmit and distribute electricity. That's on business news, so stay with us. Welcome back to the news at 10 live on Channels Television. A resident of Olondaba can heave a sigh of relief as the Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde flags up the dualization of the road, which has been in a deplorable condition for long. At the flag-off, Makinde thanked the people for enduring the hardship they had to contend with as a result of the bad road. He told the residents that traffic congestion and its effect on their businesses and daily living would be a thing of the past in 12 months when the road would be completed.
Governor Seyi Makinde arrives to a rousing welcome from residents of Olondaba, Bagi, Idiakwe, Ajara, Wisdom Estate and environs. They have every reason to be happy after more than a decade of hardship from the terrible road they had to contend with. This is what every day looks like for residents in this area. Automobiles suffer just as their owners. The 8.3-kilometer road has been flagged off with heavy machinery deployed to the site to begin work immediately.
This road is vital to the people of Lagelu local government area as it connects Akobo to Olondaba, and it will bring development to this axis. The work has already started, the equipment is here, and the contractor has promised that it will be completed in 12 months.
The road, which falls under Lagelu local government, will no doubt encourage the ease of doing business.
By constructing these roads, it will ameliorate the sufferings of the TB people of this local government. We are basically agrarian. All our settlements here are farmers. So this will ease the movement of goods and services from this end to the town.
With the dualization of Olondaba Road, we will achieve great development, and it is commuting to and fro for the environment.
Some of the motorists who ply the road are excited at the opportunities this road would open up when completed.
At least I got to this area around 7 years ago, and this road had been bad. The previous administration couldn't do anything, but we want to appreciate Governor Seyi Makinde. He promised, he even said he was going to do one lane before, but he dualized it. So we so much appreciate what he has done.
The dualized road is expected to be ready in 12 months, and according to the governor, it shall be named after the immediate past River State Governor, Nyesom Wike.
That's all from the nation's capital. Thank God it's Friday, Coyote.
Indeed. Thank God it's Friday. Let's talk security now. The governor of Plateau State, Mr. Caleb Mutfwang, has described the persistent attack and murder of young men and women across communities in the state as an act of genocide. Mr. Mutfwang is calling on security agencies to track down the attackers to end the killings in the state. He was guest on our political program, Politics Today.
A lot of people who we are yet to fully identify are coming into the fray. So there's a lot of attacks and reprisals, attacks and counterattacks, but by and large, we're seeing a pattern that is emerging. In Plateau State, I can tell you that 80% of the situation is pure genocide simplicity. The people say they are foreign mercenaries. Communities report to us where they see people dressed in black clothes with hood, coming in their hundreds, sometimes 3 on a motorbike, and you could find 50 motorbikes at a stretch or even more. And they come, attack, and they run away. A few that have been caught cannot even speak any Nigerian language. And so the question we've been asking, who sent them? Who called for them? Even assuming that there was a crisis in that community between, say, a herder and a farmer, who called for help from these foreign mercenaries? These are questions the security agencies must help us to unravel.
Well, speaking of the work ahead for security agencies, the Plateau State Police Command says it has recovered the vehicle which Reverend Father Charles Segechi was driving before he was shot and killed in Benin City on Wednesday. Well, the command spokesperson, Chidi Wabuza, who disclosed this, also assures the public that investigation is ongoing to determine the facts of the case.
The case of Reverend Father Paul, who was gruesomely murdered by unknown criminal elements along Benin Agbo Road by Ikwenero. The report got to the command through the divisional police officer in charge of Okwaye, and immediately our amiable commissioner of police mobilized the tactical teams and senior officers in charge of that jurisdiction to the scene for him to know what transpired. And when we got there, a clinical preliminary investigation was carried out by the State Criminal Investigation by lifting some objects. And as we speak, the priest has been deposited for preservation at the hospital mortuary, while his vehicle was recovered. Investigation is ongoing.
Also, some company news now. Access Bank has partnered with American Express to launch the Enterprise line products featuring the iconic American Express card design. Well, the products launched include the Amex Gold and Platinum cards, which will be sold to Access Bank's retail and private bank customers.
It's a celebration of the partnership between Access Bank and American Express, as well as the launch of the Enterprise line products featuring the iconic American Express card design. This landmark union of the two financial powerhouses will bring Access Bank's retail and private banking stakeholders a world of advantages at their fingertips.
It's a massive endorsement for us in Access Bank, working with Amex, and it's the beginning of a partnership that is set to redefine the entire banking or financial services landscape in the continent.
Access Bank is the perfect partner for us because what we see in our partnership with Access is innovation, expertise in payments, in cards, and a fantastic customer base that we think will be perfect for these products.
American Express cards. Don't live life without it. One of the many firsts from Access Bank. More than banking.
The Access Bank American Express card launch signals the beginning of a journey to redefine luxury and exclusivity in the African banking landscape.
More value.
The Enterprise line products launched include the American Express Gold and Platinum cards, and the Group Managing Director of Access Holdings is the first recipient of the card.
We want to put ourselves always in the center of our customers' lives. Okay, and such partnerships helps us further in that journey. By bringing MX to Nigeria, Nigerian consumers have another payment scheme in their hands and in their wallets.
It's been a long time coming. It takes a while to launch something truly excellent. So this partnership allows us to accept payments and to make payments in Nigeria and all over the world using the best cards that American Express has to offer. And it's a card that gives you, as well as a superior payments experience, it's very important with cards that they work. So you can do anything fancy with cards, but if they don't work for you, it's all a gimmick.
Access Bank is the first in Nigeria to deliver the Enterprise line product to the Nigerian market.
We're not done with the business stories just yet. Here's Joker Rogers with business news.
Thank you so much, Kayode. Welcome to Business News. Now, states, companies, and individuals will now be free to generate, transmit, and distribute power across the country as moves to consolidate all legislations dealing with the electricity supply industry has now come to fruition. This boost to the industry was set in motion by President Bola Tinubu following his assent to the new electricity bill, which was passed in July last year under the Buhari administration. The bill repeals the Electricity and Power Sector Reform Act of 2005 and provides a framework to guide the post-privatization phase of the Nigerian electricity supply industry, as well as encourage private sector investments in the power sector. Economic think tank Financial Derivatives Company Limited is predicting that Nigeria's inflation rate for May will be higher at 22.7% from 22.2% recorded in April. According to FDC, the major drivers of inflation for last month remain money supply growth, shortage of commodity supply due to the effect of the planting season, and the depreciation of the naira and the currencies market. It believes that the inflation data is not reflective of the effect of the 150% increase in price of petrol, resulting from the removal of fuel subsidy, as the full impact of the petrol price adjustment will be felt in the inflation numbers for June, the initial estimate of which is put at 25.2%. Meanwhile, the National Bureau of Statistics is expected to release the May inflation report next week, Thursday. Meanwhile, the recent pronouncement by President Bola Tinubu to remove fuel subsidy and implement a unified exchange rate are positive developments for Nigeria's credit profile, and that's according to global ratings agency Fitch. A new report by the ratings agency anticipates that the new government will display a somewhat more reformist and market-friendly approach compared to the previous administration under President Muhammadu Buhari. The progress on subsidy and exchange rate reform was critical in Fitch's decision to affirm Nigeria's rating at B- with a stable outlook in May 2023. However, Fitch notes that the reform agenda continues to face execution risks and still lacks detail, including measures that might start to address other challenges to Nigeria's credit profile, such as structurally very low non-oil budget revenue. A look at all the more numbers today. Nigeria's stock market ends Friday's trading session in the red as the bears maintained dominance for 3 consecutive sessions amid profit taken by investors. Ibrahim Babangida has details.
Thank you so much, Joke. Welcome to the stock market report. Well, natural market cycle has set in. Sentiments are beginning to shift on the oil and gas stocks. Kano got the biggest cut today, Friday. Profit taken on the stocks has led to 7.95 naira, shaved off its share price, and that's about almost 10%, 9.95%, and that makes Kano the market mover for today. So moving the market in the right direction, obviously. Well, expectedly, the counter closed in the red. That's it. Oil and gas down 1.60% without big fall in the price of Kano. Banking, well, still positive, but not as good as yesterday. Lost some of its gains. Consumer goods is uncertain, haven't made up its mind. Now, at the close of Friday's trade, let's look at the total of all share index is in the red. That's what Kano can do to the market. 0.05%, still maintaining 55,930, and still hold on to that 30 trillion naira. This will keep the bear on the floor of the NGX for the weekend. Well, better trade next week, we hope. That's the stock market report. I'm Ibrahim Babangida. Back to you, Joke.
That's business news tonight. Back to you, Kayode.
Well, thank you, Joke. Former U.S. President Donald Trump has been indicted for a second time by a federal grand jury. The 37-count charge accuses him of willful retention of national defense information under the Espionage Act and other government classified documents at his Florida estate. is due to appear in court in Miami on Tuesday, and that's the eve of his 77th birthday. Here's Simon Pusey with more on this and other international stories and around the world in 5.
Palm Beach home last.
Good evening and welcome to the channel's studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. Norwegian scientists say they have found evidence of an explosion in the area of the Kakhovka Dam at the time water began pouring through. The findings, based on seismic signals detected in Romania, come after days of uncertainty over how the dam was breached on Tuesday morning. Both Russia and Ukraine have accused each other of attacking the dam. Separately, Ukraine's domestic security service has released a recording it says shows Russian soldiers admitting the country attacked the dam. Hundreds of thousands of people in the Kherson region, where the dam is located, have been left without drinking water. Russian officials say military bloggers say Ukraine's military has launched attacks on occupied Russian forces in the key southern Zaporizhia region. They say Ukrainian troops, backed by tanks, artillery and drones, are trying to advance south of the town of Orikhiv for the second night running. Several military experts have said the focus of Ukraine's long-awaited counteroffensive will be Zaporizhia. Meanwhile, travelling on a train, President Volodymyr Zelensky hailed what he described as results in heavy fighting in Donetsk in the east of Ukraine. Former US President Donald Trump has responded to a second indictment, this time over his handling of classified materials after he left the White House.
A boxer's hoax, just like the Russia hoax and all of the others. It's just been going on for 7 years. They can't stop because it's election interference at the highest level. There's never been anything like what's happened. I'm an innocent man. I'm an innocent person.
He released the video on Truth Social declaring his innocence. It marks the first time in American history a former president has been indicted on federal charges, adding to his legal troubles as he runs for president again. Around 100 documents bearing classified markings were recovered from Trump's Palm Beach home last August. A natural weather event known as El Nino has begun in the Pacific Ocean, likely adding heat to a planet already warming under climate change. US scientists confirmed that El Nino had started. Experts say it will likely make 2024 the world's hottest ever year. They fear it will help push the world past a key 1.5 Celsius warming milestone. It will also affect world weather, potentially bringing drought to Australia, more rain to the southern US, and weakening India's monsoon. The event will likely last until next spring, after which its impacts will recede.
With the continued warming since the 2016 El Nino, could lead to 2024 being one for the record books. El Nino is not like a storm. El Nino is not going to hit you on Tuesday. El Nino is all about changing the kind of patterns that weather plays in. So when we talk about a moderate or strong event, that's basically saying that El Nino has a stronger influence on creating the atmospheric patterns that might stay around a while for a period of time.
An autopsy report for a student who died in Senegal's capital, Dakar, between clashes between security forces and protesters say he was killed by a live round in his back. El Hadji Cisse was shot yards from his home in a suburb of Dakar as he returned from praying at a nearby mosque. Hundreds attended his funeral in Dakar's Grand Yoff neighborhood. At least 16 people have died and hundreds more have been injured in the worst riots in the West African country in decades. Eyewitness video in North Carolina shows a freight train slamming into a semi-trailer truck stuck on the tracks at a railway crossing in at least the third such collision at the same crossing this year. Video shows the train ploughing through the truck's trailer, smashing it to pieces. No one was injured in the incident, and the truck involved was transporting bricks and no hazardous material. In January, 2 trucks met a similar fate at the same crossing. And a pair of rubber ducks have made a splash in Hong Kong's Victoria Harbour, part of an art installation dubbed Double Ducks. The Dutch artist responsible says he hopes the ducks will bring luck to the city. The ducks swam across Victoria Harbour to the delight of bystanders. Hong Kong-based studio All Rights Reserved said the ducks were like the symmetrical Chinese characters Xi for happiness and Peng for friends. The inflatable yellow ducks, 18 metres high, will sail on the harbour for 2 weeks. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the channel's studios in Lagos.
Many thanks, Simon. Welcome to Sports News. Super Eagles coach Jose Peseiro has called up Ahmed Musa, William Ekong, Alex Iwobi and Moses Simon for next weekend's 2023 African Nations Cup qualifying match against Sierra Leone in Monrovia. Well, the Super Eagles are top of their qualification group with 9 points, followed by Guinea-Bissau. Sierra Leone are third, while Sao Tome and Principe are last. And that's Sports News. I'm Ayotunde Balogun Kaide. It's back to you.
Thank you, Ayotunde. And the main news again. President Bola Tinubu today asked the support of traditional rulers for the removal of petrol subsidy, as well as his party's choice of candidate for the 10th National Assembly leadership. Also today, former Governor of Kano State, Abdullahi Ganduje, said he could have slapped his predecessor, Rabiu Kwankwaso, if they had met at the presidential villa. In his response, Senator Kwankwaso, however, dismissed his successor's claim of appropriating government property to himself, adding that he is open to working in the Tinubu government. We also told you that President Bola Tinubu today suspended Godwin Emefiele as the governor of a central bank with immediate effect. A statement from the office of the SGF asked him to hand over to the deputy governor in charge of Operations Directorate, Folashodun Shonubi, pending the conclusions into the reforms in the financial sector. And armed security operatives today stormed the residence of immediate past governor of Zamfara State, Bello Matawale, in Maradu, his hometown, taking several vehicles with them. Well, that's the news at 10 for tonight, everyone. Thank you for watching. I'm Kyle Good night.